Have you ever really stopped to think about why we travel? Today, we're going to dive into the journey of, well, the journey itself. We'll explore how it went from being this ancient punishment to, a modern pleasure, and what that all means for us right now.
So, let me ask you straight up, why do you travel? No, seriously, take a second. What's your answer? I'm guessing it's something like vacation, escape, discovery, adventure, right? Or maybe just for fun.
Okay, so hold on to that answer, because this is where things get really wild. For us, it's all about freedom, pleasure, escape. But for most of history, it was the exact opposite: fate, punishment, suffering. I mean, get this, the word travel actually comes from the word travail, which means painful, agonizing work. And believe me, for centuries, that's precisely what it was.
So let's go back. Let's really dig into that original meaning. For the ancient world, a journey wasn't something you chose. It was an ordeal, a brutal hardship you just had to endure.
You know how we talk about finding yourself on a trip to Bali? Yeah, that was not a thing. Ancient heroes like Gilgamesh or Odysseus, they didn't travel because they wanted to. They traveled because fate, or the gods, basically forced them to. Their journeys were these incredibly brutal tests, and the point wasn't to build their character, but to reveal it, to prove the courage and endurance that was supposedly already buried deep inside them. This idea right here really gets to the core of the ancient way of thinking. Travel was seen as this diminishing process. It literally stripped you down. It took away your friends, your goals, your energy, even your sense of self, until all that was left was your absolute essential core. And the wisdom? That came straight from the suffering. And this concept is so intense, it actually has a name: the fantastic death. Think about that. The hero's journey was basically a symbolic death and rebirth. You had to walk through the valley of the shadow of death, and if you came out the other side, you had proven your true, unshakable identity. It was the ultimate test.
So at the end of the day, leaving home in the ancient world was never, ever a free choice. You were basically one of two things: a hero like Gilgamesh, sent on some big public quest for glory, or you were an exile, like Adam and Eve, literally kicked out as a punishment. So yeah, your options were fate or penalty. That's it. But then, something starts to change. Something huge. A completely revolutionary shift happens. And suddenly, travel starts to get linked with these brand new ideas: freedom, individuality, and choice. And the figure at the center of this big change? It's someone we all know, but maybe you haven't thought about in this way before. It's the medieval knight. You know, the lone, wandering knight from the stories of King Arthur? Just look at the difference here. Gilgamesh's journey, it was a huge public spectacle, ordered by the gods, all to prove the identity he already had. But the knight? He just leaves. It's solitary, it's quiet, and, this is the absolute key, it's his choice. He's not leaving to prove who he is. He's leaving to create who he's going to be.
And that is the earthquake. That right there is the seismic shift. This idea of a journey taken alone, by choice, to forge an identity, it lays the groundwork for everything we think about travel today. It becomes a tool for self-creation, a way to literally build a new you through your actions and experiences. Okay, so we've got travel as self-creation, but the evolution doesn't stop there. Next, travel picks up another powerful purpose: the organized, systematic gathering of knowledge. So, flash forward to the Renaissance. European ships are starting to crisscross the globe, right? And as they do, this really fascinating idea takes hold. The distant people they were meeting in, say, the Americas, were seen as being like people from the distant past. So a journey across space suddenly became a journey through time. They even had a name for it: philosophical travel. The thinking was, if you went and studied these indigenous cultures, you were basically looking at living history. It was like a window into our own collective childhood as a species. So travel wasn't just for adventure anymore. It was a scientific tool for understanding human history. And this idea totally changed what it meant to be a traveler. First off, being curious was no longer a bad thing. It became a totally legitimate reason to go exploring. Second, thanks to big thinkers like Francis Bacon, the idea of seeing it with your own eyes became the best way to find the truth. And third, travel got organized. Your travel diary wasn't just for your feelings anymore, it was a scientific notebook, a tool for mapping and understanding the world.
The peak of this whole idea was something called the Grand Tour. This was basically the ultimate study abroad program for Europe's rich kids. These young men would travel for months or even years, and their one and only job was to see things, observe them, write it all down, and basically absorb the world as the final piece of their education.
And if you want the poster child for this new scientific traveler, look no further than Charles Darwin. He didn't get on the HMS Beagle to become famous like Gilgamesh. He went to observe. And the things he saw and recorded on that journey, well, they ended up changing everything we thought we knew about life on this planet.
So that brings us all the way to today, and to a much, much trickier question. In this world of ours, a world that's totally connected, completely mapped, what is travel even for anymore?
You know, the biggest irony of all is that centuries of travel have been so successful that they've created this single global civilization. Everything is known, everything is connected. There's almost no away to get away to anymore. The unknown frontier, it might just be gone.
So we've gone from all these different kinds of travelers throughout history, the hero, the exile, the knight, the explorer, and we've boiled it all down to just one, the tourist. What used to be this rare, life-changing thing for a few people is now, well, it's pretty routine. It's the one label that fits almost everyone who leaves home.
And that leaves us with a really big, kind of uncomfortable question. If travel isn't a trial that makes heroes, and it's not a mission to discover new worlds, has it lost its power? Its authentic, transformative magic? Are we just consuming places now like we consume TV shows instead of actually being changed by them?
But wait, here's a really cool twist. Maybe that feeling, that sense that it's all a bit fake, maybe that actually sparks a totally new kind of journey. When you realize there's no out there left to discover, maybe it forces you to turn around and look back, to look at where you started, at your own home, with fresh eyes.
So yeah, maybe those epic journeys outward, the ones for fame or freedom or knowledge, maybe that chapter is closing. But that opens up a brand new one. It creates the need for a journey inward. The final frontier might not be on a map. It might be inside ourselves.
So I want to leave you with this. We've seen travel go from an ancient trial to a modern choice, but the one constant has been transformation. So in this world, where there's maybe no real way to escape to anymore, where is your journey truly taking you?